Hey guys, Sai here from Audio Plugin Deals, and we're going to be doing something quite different today. Let's get right to it. Random generation definitely has applications in music, especially in live performance and composition. Some people might view it as cheating, but random generation can often present creative challenges. Turning a random set of notes into a functional piece of music isn't always the easiest thing to do, especially when you're performing live. Random generation has many applications, in arpeggiators, in modulators. Heck, there's even ways to randomly generate sets of notes using code. Today we'll be exploring Riffer by Audiomodern. Riffer is a MIDI sequencer that generates patterns and riffs for your use in your music. Alright, so I've got a couple of synthesizer tracks set up with a bit of delay on each one. And an electric guitar. And I'm going to load Riffer into the first one here. Now Riffer isn't a virtual instrument or an audio effect, it's a MIDI sequencer. So every DAW has a different way of loading it up. On Logic it'll be in the MIDI effects menu right here. But yeah, it can be used on any virtual instrument track of your choice. Alright, so now that I've loaded Riffer up onto this track, I'm going to hit the play button in our DAW and see what happens. So we can already see Riffer in action, but it sounds quite gross at the moment. It sounds really boring. So we can actually generate a pattern. I want it to be in the key of F minor, so we can set that up the top here. I want it to be in 8th notes rather than 16th notes. And I want it to generate 12 notes altogether rather than 16. So now we can hit the dice button and we have our first pattern. Which is pretty cool. We can edit any of these notes to our liking. Oops. And we can mute any of the notes just by clicking on them. And then maybe I want to decrease the length of the loop so it only plays 8 divisions rather than 16. We can do that using this slider here. Very nice. And if you don't like the pattern, just hit the dice button again and it will generate a new one. And you can do this as many times as you like. I actually want to switch back to the 16th notes because I like that speed, I like the pulse. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm also going to increase the number of notes back as well. Nice. We can widen the pitch range by increasing the slider here, and then when we hit the dice button, the generated notes will span this entire range. Actually, I'm just going to increase the length again. I actually like that descending motion, so I'm going to edit a few of these notes. That's actually a pretty cool riff, so I could actually save that using, oops, this button here. Cool loop. And now I can load that up here. That's one I saved earlier, don't worry about that. But yeah, this one, we can load this up at any time. Now let's generate a new pattern. We've got about 53 different scales to work with, so let's choose something a bit more interesting. So many cool ones here. Prometheus. Okay, I have no idea what this is, but I'm going to go with it. And that sounds wild. Oh, that is cool. Gotta save that one. That is nice. On the left we have some more parameters. This shuffle mode allows us to shift every second note forward by a specified amount. So if I play the loop, actually I'll just turn the delay off so you can hear it better. And maybe all the way to the right, we'll have the effect of having two notes played at once. We also have a shift parameter, which can be toggled, like this, and it shifts the position of each note in the pattern by a random amount, depending on how much we increase this slider. So we can use this subtly to add an element of imperfection into our pattern, or we can push it all the way up to create unpredictable bursts of notes. And then this motion parameter lets us choose the direction of the riff. So right now it's set to forward, but we can make the riff play backwards. And we can also make it ping pong back and forth. Now on the right, we actually have two other editors to explore, duration and volume. Duration lets us adjust the length of each note, so maybe we want each note to get longer and then shorter again. I'll just set this back to forward again. Make this a bit more exaggerated. That sounds quite cool. And then we can also adjust the volume of each note. And this basically adjusts the MIDI velocity. It's worth noting that all these parameters can be locked, so if I'm happy with the pitches, I can just select the editor and then hit this lock button right here. And then when I hit the dice button, all these pitches will be locked, but all the other parameters will be randomized. Now a lot of the patterns we generate will have repeated notes, and we actually have the option of tying these together using the switch here. I don't know what this switch does though, because the manual wasn't very clear, so if anyone knows what the switch does, feel free to let us know in the comments. Now at the bottom we have some transposition controls, so we can transpose this down or up the octave, or even down or up 2 octaves. and we can also transpose up by step. And we can also shift the pattern back and forth by beat divisions. Which is pretty cool. At the bottom right is an option to export the MIDI data from our pattern. Just click it and drag it to the track of your choice. And we can see that a MIDI region has been created here. Should just mute this track. The last cool feature I want to show you is the infinite mode, which is this figure 8 button right here. So when this is enabled, every time the pattern loops back, a new one is generated. So if I hit the play button... Oh, I forgot, the pitch was locked, so we do need to unlock that. Yeah, let's go. And this mode is quite cool. You can use it to make a long stream of riffs, which you can then filter through later. Or you could use it to create just a constant stream of unpredictable notes, especially if you combine it with the shift parameter here. So. Alright, so to finish off, I thought it'd be cool to give you guys a look at how I used Riffer to create the intro music. I've got two synthesizer tracks set up here, with Riffer loaded up on each one of them. And this is what they sound like. So yeah, that's riff 1, and this is riff 2. Comes in a bit later. And both of these riffs combine to create a nice pulse. And then to spice things up, I added a little bit of modulation automation, just to create a little vibrato effect. Just to spice things up. And later in the piece I also sprinkled some notes in that first track. So those notes are acting on top of the riff that's already playing. So that's another cool use for Riffer, is you can create a riff and then improvise over that riff on the same track. And then to add to the whole randomness theme, I made this third synth track and loaded up an arpeggiator on it. And I made this arpeggiator break the chord up in a random direction. So that's what that sounds like. And on top of that, I also added a modulator MIDI effect and used it to automate or randomize the filter cutoff on my retro synth here. And that just spices up the whole thing. So these are just a few ways you can use randomness in your music to make it sound cool, essentially. So yeah, that's this video wrapped up. I hope you guys liked it, and I will see you in the next one. Catch you later.